Welcome to The Topic, where we highlight Houston Community College, our students, our programs, and our reach into the community. I'm Todd Duplantis. We have got a great show lined up for you today, but first, if you're watching us on HCC TV or social media, you can download the audio versions of this and all of our podcasts at hccs.edu/podcasts. We're talking about art education. It starts best when you start at a young age, and we've got a great summer camp coming up. Joining me right now is Dr. Colleen Reilly from HCC's, the Dean of the Visual and Performing Arts Center of Excellence, and Mr. Velbert Lewis, President of the F2F Music Foundation. Thank you both for being here.
Sure, thanks for having us.
I'm familiar with the Center of Excellence, but tell me, what is F2F Music Foundation?
F2F stands for Faith to Form, and it's a music foundation specifically designed to enhance the education of jazz, primarily with students in the Fort Bend County area.
Okay.
We're focusing right now with concerts and rehearsals that we've done with some of the schools at Fort Bend ISD.
And how old are the students that you normally deal with?
Well, right now they've been primarily high school students,
okay,
but this year we're planning to target more of the middle school age range.
And tell me about this jazz improvisation summer camp you have coming up, because I was reading about this earlier, and it sounds like a pretty good deal for both parents who want to get their kids into this, to expose them to jazz, and really for the kids to get some invaluable lessons.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, the whole plan of this is to, again, enhance jazz, because it's becoming a dying art form in a lot of different ways, as well as with classical music. So I've got quite a few friends who are recording artists as well, who have the same desire of getting to the young people and making sure that they don't lose that information and history of where jazz has originated from, being its American art form anyway.
Sure.
And to hopefully be able to improve the ability to do improvisation, to actually take music that they're learning in the basic courses and then be able to expand on that in a creative mode to create their own music, create their own career path, and move into college level and beyond.
When I grew, I'm going to date myself here, but when I was growing up, jazz was being infused into various forms of popular culture music. Back then it was Santana who did a lot of jazz infusion, and even bands as crazy as Rush would infuse some jazz into their musical styles. So as growing up, I'd hear all these styles, and it would intrigue me to go back and learn more, because I was an audiophile, about jazz artists. Is that happening today with today's musical artists? Do you still see jazz, classical jazz, being infused in new music?
Absolutely, especially on the contemporary jazz level. A lot of the musicians that I work with, friends of mine again, they have gone back to even R&B artists from back in the 60s and 70s and incorporated a lot of those same rhythms along with the jazz overtones to create different genres of jazz.
Right.
One in particular is one that I actually coined back in 2005, called groove jazz. So it's a mixture of R&B, a little funk, and jazz as well. But the jazz part of it allows the music to really expand to a different level, where people, when they listen to it, say, wow, it's smooth, but it's also interesting to listen to.
And it's never the same thing twice.
Exactly.
That's what I always loved about the performances. You'd hear them live, and then you'd see them live, and it'd be totally different.
Right.
You know, this must be exciting, getting the students in here, because I know the trend in education, especially in college, is to start reaching the students younger to establish or get someone established on a path of a career or a destiny.
Yeah, well, here at HCC we call that a pathway. We're in Houston, so we can also call it a pipeline. But we really are looking particularly for our jazz program, which we've offered jazz studies at HCC for quite some time. It's part of the footprint of our music program, and we're just finding that we need to recruit younger students into that program. And when we talk about improvisation, it's a form that takes complete confidence. and also courage, because
Sure.
the students are applying the foundations of music, as they go along. So they really have to be proficient, they have to know what they're doing, and they have to be excited to play and willing to experiment. So it's a really good skill for the students to have.
If someone has a youngster, I should say, a high school student or someone they're interested in getting involved in this program, what are the qualifications you're looking for, and how do you do it, and what do they need? Is there a cost to it? How does it work?
Yes, primarily we're looking for students that have an intermediate level
Okay.
of training, generally somewhere around, I'd say, 5 to 6 years worth of performance actually playing,
Right.
that they know their instrument, they understand how to read music to some degree, preferably better than most, and then to be able to come into a program where they can then utilize those tools that they've learned of theory and harmony and start applying them to a creative level which is beyond what they've done in the past.
It sounds like you want to challenge them.
Absolutely.
They're going to go into this course and get some challenge to expand on what they haven't been thinking of before.
Right. That includes listening skills as well, because what we plan to do with the course study, which will go through 4 days per week, and we have a 3-week course, that they'll actually listen to various artists that we'll bring in, recorded music as well, and to then, once they start listening, to understand what it is that's going on in the music, what type of phrasing, what type of themes are they hearing in it, and then be able to actually do them themselves. And we help them learn how to do that, so that by the end of the camp, that they should be able to step up on stage and actually play something similar to saxophonist that they may have been mentoring for a long time, or a trumpet player, or what have you. So we're looking primarily at band instruments, of course. And there is a fee. The fee is $285 per student, and we've kind of calculated that out to be about $21 a day for each student to come in.
Which really, when you're thinking of entertaining, early high school students for about $21 a day during the summer, that's a bargain there.
Exactly.
I got to tell you for that.
Right.
If you're talking artists that they may get a chance to listen to, or maybe some Charlie Bird, Pharoah Sanders.
Well,
what type of artists are you going to be exposing them to?
yeah, I've actually started planning the agenda for that. So it would be John Coltrane is one
Okay,
particular.
yeah, we're going to go way back.
Right,
Yeah.
for the improvisation level, because these are artists that have been known for their
Sure.
improvisational skills. Thelonious Monk as
Oh,
well,
yeah.
from the piano standpoint. And the plan is to do 2 artists per week.
Okay.
We will start off with traditional jazz. The second week go into contemporary jazz, and then we'll add people like Jeff Lorber,
Yeah.
who's known for his fusion techniques. His name of the group, of course, Jeff Lorber Fusion,
Right.
and Miles Davis. To bring them in for that particular week, and we focus on the lives of these people, the type of music they created, the time frame when they were creating, and how they developed from whatever level they were to being what they were at the end. And then the third week would be for bands. So then we're looking at specific bands such as Tower Power, and there's another band I can't recall right off the top of my head, but that are known for their intricate levels of coordination with arrangements, with theory and harmony as well, all incorporated in the parts that they're playing.
This has got to be an exciting thing for a lot of students that would be involved in something like this. I would have loved it when I was a kid, I mean,
You're right.
It sounds like an incredible course, and really $21 a day. Where can you beat that
Yeah,
for summer
yeah.
entertainment? For
Exactly.
kids, huh? We're going to talk more about this jazz summer camp here at Houston Community College. You want to learn more about it? Well, stay tuned to the topic. We'll be back right after this.
Meet Wally. He's a single dad. He's also a role model for his 5-year-old son, going back to school with him. This time, Wally's going to Houston Community College for a second career. HCC, for everyone, anytime. Elizabeth. She's a mom on her way to get groceries. She's also on her way to getting an associate's degree at Houston Community College that could help provide for her family. HCC, for everyone, anytime.
Welcome back to The Topic. I'm Todd Duplantis. We're talking with Dr. Colleen Reilly, HCC Dean for the Visual and Performing Arts Center of Excellence, and we're joined by Velbert Lewis, President of F2F Music Foundation. We're talking about a jazz improvisation camp that's happening for teens over the summer here at HCC. It's a pretty exciting deal. When we talk about in education in arts or an arts background, even if you're not going to be a jazz musician full-time in the future, how would this benefit one as they're heading forward in life and becoming a well-rounded individual?
Well, of course, because we're dealing primarily with students who are playing music, we would hope that they would continue in their career path to continue with the instruments that they're playing or learn other instruments. But what it does is also help from an academic standpoint because of how music really enhances the brain to utilize that right side that is where the creativity would be, and also from a mathematical standpoint that they're able to expand on the creativity that's occurring as they listen to music. So we're hoping that that helps as well, because then again, if the academic level is increasing, that they'd have more chance to take other types of career paths. But also along with that, in terms of music, there's other avenues within the music industry that they can go into.
Right.
And these are one of the things that I wanted to focus on as well. If you don't like playing the instrument, then great. There is engineering that you can get into.
Producing.
There's production, exactly, producing shows, events, lighting, all types of different areas.
And those are areas that I've just joined the Visual and Performing Arts. So now we house audio recording and technology and music business, as well as the fine arts. And from my perspective, anything you learn in the fine arts is applicable to whatever career that you're going to go into. There's this huge conversation happening right now about employability skills or marketability skills, and those kinds of communication, critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration. All of that is going to happen in real training scenarios, real experiences in the arts.
Well, there's the talk of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and now it's STEAM, which is the big term, because in order to do a lot of that, arts fits into, because you got to have somebody design these things and think artistically, and not all engineers think that way.
Right.
So it's good to have that well-rounded. So will they get experience during this camp? And you mentioned something about other avenues that you can take besides being a professional musician. Will you speak to them about this in the camp?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and that'll be actually on a weekly basis. So every week, as we're talking to them about the particular artists that we're featuring for that week, that we can also, again, look at the lives of these artists to see if they may have had some background previously into education, as to whether it be engineering. There's many artists that have had more of a background with mathematics. I'm sure as we go through these artists, we're going to find a lot of this information. It's going to be very interesting to the kids that are learning.
Well, you mentioned Jeff Lorber.
Right.
As a musician now, when I first was experienced with Jeff Lorber, he was a producer, produced some of the biggest hits of the 80s.
Exactly.
Very well involved then. So it shows that, you have to have another side to be thinking with that other side of the brain.
Exactly.
To handle not only playing the music, but producing and hearing it and being able to be a successful producer.
Right. That's one of the things that I learned in my career as well, composition and arranging. That also creates the extensional revenue that can come outside of just performing.
Sure.
So then it's another avenue stream of financial wealth that these students can at least be able to experience, have some idea of how they can get into it going down the road, and hopefully they'll take advantage of it.
Right. And you were also commenting as well on this.
Well, I think Mr. Lewis is being a little modest because he has a lot of that professional experience across all of those areas. So I think he will really be a strong mentor for these students who are exploring what they can do with a degree in music.
Once again, for folks wanting information on this, where can they go? We'll talk about the cost again. Is there a cost to it? And what are the qualifications for the student, once again, for people just joining us?
As far as the cost, again, is $285 for the entire course.
Which is a bargain. Trust me on that
Yeah.
one. It really
And
is.
there also may be scholarships available, so the
Exactly.
cost should not be a barrier.
You can't beat that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we're bringing in artists from around the country as well. There's
Yeah.
one in particular is a female saxophonist by the name of Paula Atherton I've been speaking with. And she's very interested in coming in to perform on that last day where we would do a concert
Oh, wow.
with my band as well, and then involve some of the students that have actually excelled through the course to be able to come up on stage and perform with
This is
us.
like jazz band camp.
Yeah, there you go, exactly.
Yeah, and you get the performance at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And where can they go for this? And we'll talk more again about what you're looking for as a background with students.
Sure. Onto our website, it's f2fmusicfoundation.org.
Okay.
And to the jazz improvisation page, as you scroll down through the information, there's a button there that says register, so they can register online. And there's terms and conditions, of course, that you have to read through, but basically just to protect them while they're in on the campus. And again, it's very easy to be able to sign up for it.
You mentioned something about working with students from Fort Bend County. Is this only open to students in Fort Bend County, or is it open to anyone across the Houston area?
We're focusing primarily on Fort Bend
Okay.
County. Houston also has an organization called Jazz Education, and they do have their summer jazz workshop that they've been running for years. So I don't want to interfere with those students that may want to attend to that particular program because of proximity of being closer to them. Right. But Fort Bend has never had anything like this. This is the first time for the area to have a jazz camp that these kids can go to. So we're focusing there. But once we get to a point of towards the end of the registration period, of course, if there's other students that would like to just inquire and see, well, if there's a spot open, well, if we have the space, for sure.
And Dr. Reilly, maybe you can go over the dates for this and the location.
Well, this will be at our Stafford Fine Arts Center,
Okay.
and we're looking at July,
13th through the 31st.
yes.
Half a month, $280. You can't go wrong with that, and it's a great deal. And not to confuse with the Stafford Center, which is right down the street.
Right.
HCC, we have our own Performing Arts Center.
Oh,
and
it's such a gem.
For folks who don't know about that, real quickly, maybe you can tell us what they'll find out there.
It's a beautiful little space at the Stafford campus. We have studio art. We offer music in a beautiful recital hall. We have a black box theater
Yeah.
and a gallery. So it really is a dream that this summer we'll be hosting the camp there. And I just appreciate Dr. Brulo's support in making this a possibility.
Well, it's a great camp, and if you have questions about this, you can also visit our website, hccs.edu/arts, to learn about the programs, and you can go to f2fmusicfoundation.org for more information on this jazz improvisation summer camp. We're going to take a short break.
Follow us on Facebook as well.
Oh, yeah, follow them on Facebook. Follow all of us
Twitter,
on Facebook.
Instagram, we're all over.
Absolutely. And if they want to find you on social media, how would they do that?
Well, again, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, F2F has sites set up on all three.
And that's f2fmusicfoundation.org is their website. When we return, we'll learn how this partnership is part of a larger outreach at Houston Community College. Stay tuned to The Topic. We'll be right back.
Meet Lisa. When she's not moving to a Zydeco beat, she's making moves towards a better job with a nursing degree from Houston Community College. Ça c'est bon, Lisa. HCC, for everyone, anytime.
I've seen people's lives change just by attending a class at HCC.
Some of them might not have the financial means to go to a four-year university. That doesn't make them any less quote-unquote smart than the kids who go to a four-year school.
HCC is easy to get to. It's easy to apply and easy to become a part of.
It gave me so much confidence.
Once you finish your 2 years there, you can transition into a four-year university or go into the workforce.
It's affordable, it's accessible, it changes lives.
Meet Travion. His mom went to Houston Community College, so choosing that was easy. Choosing what to study from more than 100 instructional fields? Not so much. HCC, for everyone, anytime.
Welcome back to The Topic. I'm Todd Duplantis. We've been talking with members of HCC and also Velbert Lewis, president of F2F Music Foundation, about this summer's jazz camp for teens. We'll have more on that. But right now joining us is Matias Garza, HCC Southwest Dean of Student Success. Dean Garza, welcome here.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, good to have you on the show. Tell us how partnerships like this with F2F benefit HCC and how we may be doing more of this in the future.
Sure. It's always a great opportunity to partner with some of our community partnerships out there because it's in our name, right? We're a community college. We want to make sure we offer an opportunity for our students for multiple instructional or learning experiences. And we see this as a great opportunity for our students. And we call them our students, Todd, precisely because they are going to be our students. They're
right.
in our feeder pattern.
Sure.
And so we want to make sure that they connect with the community college. We do this on a regular basis with other programs, so we're always looking to add additional opportunities for our communities in the Fort Bend and Stafford area in particular. So we have a strong partnership with them, but more than anything, it helps those communities connect with their community college because we found that these students, they make a connection with us beyond the instructional level, but the support programs that we provide them.
And Mr. Lewis, you said something earlier that I found very important. This is particularly, you're trying to reach out to the Fort Bend County area because there's nothing like this. In Houston, there is a jazz summer camp program already established,
Correct.
but this is new to the Fort Bend County area.
Correct, absolutely. And I'm hoping to continue with this for the next 10 years. So the objective right now is to develop more awareness of jazz music and as well as classical, because I do have a few friends that have come into the city from Italy. They're world-renowned pianists,
right.
classical pianists, and they also want to incorporate jazz into the program. So some of what we may be doing is having them come in and showing the students how classical music has a basis also within jazz music, and where a lot of these artists that we'll be talking about throughout the camp have had classical training. And there's nothing wrong with classical music. In other words, this is something that you might want to spend some time just getting to learn and know more about.
And you mentioned something earlier about some of the artists they'll be hearing during this camp. Is this the first time a lot of these students are going to hear these artists, or do you expect that they've heard them before?
No, I believe this is probably the first time. And I find that when I actually talk to some of these students in school, and I mention some names of people that I've worked with before, such as Dionne Warwick. I used to tour with her. There's a deer in the headlights look. Who's that? I said, well, you know Whitney Houston? Wow. Oh, yeah, well, they're related.
yeah, to say the least. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that, by bringing this kind of information to them, that it'll enlighten them first of all, and then that they'll understand that there's more to life than what they see in front of them every day on their phones.
Right.
It's history that has been there all along, and it's needed in order for what I always say, you need to know the past in order to understand the present so that you can plan accordingly for the future.
Well, you might want to throw out Dionne Warwick because she's hot right now. She was just on The Mask, if you're familiar with that Fox TV show.
Right.
She was just unmasked a few weeks ago, so she'll be in the prime spotlight.
Yeah, she and I were talking about that on text messages, so it was interesting.
It was a great performance by her and historical as well. But they'll get a chance to hear about these stories and hopefully connect, maybe YouTube some of these artists, to brush up on what they're all about.
Yeah, because I've just been working with a saxophonist locally, because I do private lessons as well.
Yep.
And I believe he's attending Elkins High School right now. Brilliant on baritone sax. And I mentioned some of artists that I thought he should be listening to because he was focusing on one particular piece for a solo competition.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, fine. Go on YouTube and listen to the actual composition that you're working on. And then you can start learning more about phrasing within the certain parts that you're having trouble on.
Right.
The following week, I went back to him. He said, Mr. Lewis, that was great. That helped a lot. Now I understand what I need to do. My breathing is better now. I said, there you go. See, so.
He learned, just by not. But, to his defense, I was talking to someone in acting the other day on one of our shows, and he said he purposely tries not to watch performances that he may do in the future. So he watches very little right now so that he doesn't get ideas to incorporate that. But in the music world, it sounds like you want to bounce off the original composition to add on your own, especially in jazz.
Yes, I've actually sat as a judge on various competitions. And one of the things that we tell young people is that in order to be great, you need to learn from the greats. So whether you're actually copying their styles or whatever, that's only a basis for you to improve and do your own thing, create your own style from someone else's.
Right.
Not using the same notes, of course, just to come up with something different. And that's what this camp is all about, is to learn how to improvise from what you're hearing, what you're seeing, what you're learning. So.
It sounds like an exciting camp, a first of its kind for HCC in the Fort Bend County area. Do you see us incorporating more of this with the local school districts?
I do, Todd, and we've done other partnerships in the past, as I mentioned, but I see this growing even further. We've gotten interest from our Stafford High School band director as well recently, and so they've expressed an interest to join in this initiative as well. So I do see this growing over time, and building on it beyond, the jazz performance.
Right. One thing that people may not know about HCC Southwest, but you guys are have a large footpath. You're in Harris County and Fort Bend County. You have, 8 campuses now you're working with?
Yes, we have a total of 5 campuses.
Five
right
campuses
now.
now you're working with.
We have 5 campuses, and we service multiple school districts and
Right.
municipalities. So we're always partnering with our communities and looking at what we can bring on to campus for our teams. We're also out in the communities. We have embedded advisors that go out into the high schools to work with those individuals. But we also have senior programs, senior citizen programs that we've established. We have cohorts of senior citizens
Right.
that come on campus to take courses with us.
And they also have 7 cities they deal with as well. I know it's going to work for y'all. 7 cities they can boast. And I don't think many other of our colleges can say we stretch into 7 different cities.
That is correct.
So there's a lot of opportunity. And a number of the cities do fall in Fort Bend County. So it's a lot of opportunity to expand on programs like this. What advice would you give the students who attend this camp about as far as making the most of their time on a college campus?
Sure. I would tell them to embrace the opportunity that's given to them, because they are on campus and they're going to get an opportunity to see all the great works that can be done on campus. We're going to have, not only will they see the jazz part, but they'll be exposed to other opportunities on campus. All the fine art programs that we have.
To
they're
get
going
to
be
know
within,
HCC.
Absolutely.
All right, Dean Garza, thanks for joining us, HCC Southwest Dean of Student Success. And Velbert Lewis, President of F2F Music Foundation. I could talk to you all day on music. And I appreciate the conversation, and thanks for telling our viewers all about this.
Sure, thank you.
If you want to know more about the Jazz Festival, it's f2fmusicfoundation.org. If you would like to download all of the audio podcasts of this particular show and all of our shows on HCC TV, you can do that at hccs.edu/podcasts. For The Topic on HCC TV, I'm Todd Duplantis. I'll see you next week.